This won't make much sense, but I'm going to stream a little bit. I'm testing, but also we had a small feature we could implement, and so I'm obliged to do that. It's casual. We see how that works. Yes. I think I've got everything set up. Looking closely at that. Yes. All right. Um, Previously, um, we implemented some pearls, and then I talked about a new tool that I'm using to make sure that our build doesn't use too many frames, like it doesn't need to, right? Um, for some reason, Unity will. It will just use all the frame rate it can, even though it doesn't need to, which is silly, and I can't explain it, but that's what it does. And this tool says, no, 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 lock it to a particular frame rate. In this case, the default is 30. In our game, I went ahead and said it should be 60 because I do like the animation to be a little bit smoother, etc. But in the process, last time, I described that we have an options menu and we're not doing anything with it yet. Here it is, nothing, right? There's nothing there. And we could do something, there's nothing in the credits either, but this is like literally blank. But now we have something to set, the frame rate, right? We could do that. At the same time, why not imagine we have some audio? Because we don't, but we could. And when we do, that would be here as well. That makes sense. If it looks similar to other menus, that's probably appropriate. Clearly, every menu has its own things it needs to display, but the pattern of having buttons at the bottom, navigation buttons, and even the save and revert might make some sense, especially for settings and options. Um, a column sort of layout might work, might make some sense. This is so simple that it really doesn't make any sense to look at it. This has its own layout because of its own needs, right? So, and so does this. But I think that pattern of the navigation at the bottom makes sense. Maybe columns for different settings make some sense as well. Anyway, we have something to set. So why not do it, right? We have at least frame rate to set, if not in the future, some sounds. And I think what I suggested last time was we might have just a simple radio button series, so you can only have one pressed at a time. And for sound, for example, it could be low, medium, high volume. Yes. Same for our frame rate. So I thought I would implement that. Yeah. Why do I have scene management? Oh, right. I do actually navigate. Okay. Otherwise, this is bare bones. This is like empty. That actually makes sense. There's nothing in the options menu, but let's change that. Yeah. In this case, GPU Saver is the name of this tool that I just mentioned. Okay, let's call it that. And I will do the normal validate and implement or initialize. The idea if something's wrong, I want to know about it. This can simply go look for the tool in the scene, and it's guaranteed to be there. How do I know? Because in the splash screen, this is how the game starts every time, guaranteed. And that's a safe place for me to put things that must be in the game at all times. These tools literally unparent from this little folder, and then they all have a pattern of singletons, and I guess I don't need to describe that too much, but there can be only one, and they are also made to travel from scene to scene to scene. So it starts here in Splash, and it never goes away, and there's only one. Even if you go back to Splash, there's only one. Makes it a convenient thing, so I can guarantee that it's going to be there, but in case it is not. I'm going to detect that it's not here and do something about it. I'm going to actually error out. Actually, log error or log warning. If I can actually run, I should just warn, but I'm going to break that rule and error because I would rather know. And the error message format, as I typically do, is to describe which script is throwing the error and where. That would be options start. In this case, I also have to describe what went wrong. And I could say, that, and what I'm going to do about it. In this case, I am erroring out, so I'm going to say I'm aborting by simply making this tool stop. And that's guaranteed to get my attention and fix the problem, but should never happen. Anyway, with this, I'm not doing any initializing right now. Am I? I guess I am, actually, now that I think about it. I kind of want to, you know what, I'm going to read it straight from the tool and use it. But this will be displayed. I can set it. If it's different from what's in the tool, that's how it's going to know what to do. So yeah. So now I can initialize this because if this exists, I can actually just read it. What is the name of this variable that I'm thinking of? Target. Generic. Good enough, though. It makes sense for the tool, but, you know. Right. Cool. So this public variable is now set to whatever the thing is currently configured to, and since that is the tool that controls it all, it's good to read it from here. Now to give the player some control over it, we're going to have to tell them what's going on and then give them the controls. So we'll do labels. The moment I am just going to do the frame rate, I'll do audio later, but should I call it frame rate? I think players will know what I'm talking about. Yeah, I think they'll know what I'm talking about. This pattern includes setting constant variables as tunable things. I guess it's safe to leave it at that. The point is, there's a font size that works well, and regardless of how you resize it, whether I'm looking at it in the editor window, the small thing, or if it's on a mobile device, or if it's on a large screen, it's going to resize. Okay, excuse me. Right. The rest of this pattern, I guess I should start with dealing with the columns. The rest of this pattern includes defining where items sit as a percentage of screen space, because I can find the actual screen space as width and height and then just multiply it. So this is just a percentage of screen space. It makes it easy to format things. Don't need it to be bold. Center is okay. Actually, I'm going to do left. All right. Patterns are good. I use this pattern a lot, and it's going to look like a lot of work and typing to get a graphical user interface when there are tools to do so. I will assert that the tools to do so are garbage, and they really are a pain to deal with when you want to have your code interface with the display. You're working with somebody else's tool. This tool happens to be poorly designed, so I'd rather do it this way so I have control. Okay, so this title was set at these positions and that dimension. I'm doing it different. So this is going to be half the width with some padding. So I'll do a 0.4, so 40% of the width. It's definitely going to be smaller. So only 10% of the height. And this is screen space, so 10% of the height of the screen. Because I know I'm doing 40%, keeping it 5% from the edge is going to give a nice pad, and that's okay. The position from the top, however, needs to be a little lower. This is already 20% high and starts at 5, so I'm going to say this needs to be 3 at least. That would be 30% down from the top. Okay, so these things are set, sort of. Need to reset the label. Oops. Hello. What just happened? What did I just do? This is going to be called frame rate. Let's look at where this sits. It is left aligned. Sorry. This is left aligned. Okay. Because it is drawn with code, literally the easiest thing to do is test it while the engine's running and adjust them. So this was, how did that not get saved? What's that? Did I not just put these numbers in? I did, right? That's odd. Okay, so I save, and after a little bit of compiling, so at this time, this is okay. I'm anticipating actually using only a portion of this, so not 40%. I really don't need that much. In other words, I'm going to use the majority of the width for the buttons that they can click on. Okay, and I apologize. I need to stop for a second. All right. Okay, so I'm going to continue to adjust these things, and I might even just leave it running. Okay. So I don't think I need 40%. It's literally taking up half, and I don't need that much. I'm going to go with 30. I don't see a difference because it's aligned to the left. But now I'm going to add buttons, and I already have a section for that. This addition to the pattern for buttons allows highlighting. I don't want to go into why I'm doing it that way, but I am. Story short, it's part of the pattern, and I will copy, paste, and adjust. Okay. So this is all right. So now I'm going to make adjustments based on where this is. This is positioned here from the top, and then based on this being 5% from the edge and 30% wide, meaning I should be able to start at 0.4, and that's actually pretty good. Yeah, there's a little bit of pad, and then there's room for the buttons that I'm going to use. Okay, each button is probably going to be... Actually, let's leave it at this for a second. Let's see how that looks. Button font and blah, blah, blah. That's all fine. Actually, this is all fine. And I will label it. And I will use, when it is pressed, I will go ahead and immediately set the target. And since that tool already works and adjusts the frame rate, this is easy. Okay, so should be a button now. Okay, a little big actually. Oh, it says +10. You know why? It's because I'm wanting to use the pattern, and I knew at some point I might have buttons. Yet this button needs to be bigger than that button, so the button can be smaller here. That's pretty good. It's not bad. So what I'm thinking about is radio buttons, and 3 of them. Be a little actually. Plus I want padding between the buttons. Yeah, let's put 3 buttons down and then see what it looks like. In this case, the pattern helps because I'm just going to move all of this down a little bit, meaning this number changes and that's it. Like literally, I'm going to ask it to add some amount to it. And then I could just do this. So what this should do is make a new button that does a new thing. And I use the width of the first one to adjust the width of the second one. I do need to use this here. Okay. That way they both have their highlight. As you can see, this is actually going to extend a little bit further than I want. I think this is enough room for labels. I don't know how many other options I need yet, but I'll tell you what. I will make this a little smaller. I will move this down a bit. Because I've just added to the position of the second one, everything moves down a little bit. There we go. Oh, I moved this the wrong place. Wait. Wait, what? Oh, yeah, I did move the wrong thing. I'm going to make it thinner, not higher. Okay, so the buttons are there. These are still probably a little wider than I need, actually. It's okay. But it would reach across, so I think it's good. I'm going to just copy this pattern again. And I don't know if 120 is actually a good number to use, but in the vein of having low, medium, high frame rate, this is probably pretty good. Okay, so I get the idea. 3 buttons and you could pick between them, yeah? To make them radio buttons, they should look like one is pressed while, that one is pressed while the other are unpressed, right? So I could click on 2 buttons, but one of them is already look like it's down. It's the one that's currently selected. That's what I need to do. Let's talk about this for a second. I mean, it is Friday. It's the game design day. So this has to do with how the user interfaces with this. They say frame rate. What do you mean? And 30 frames per second, 60, 120, they'll figure it out. But what they don't know is, well, which one should I select? What they don't know is like, which one is already selected? They don't know these things, right? And in fact, if I have the ability to highlight this and click it, I think it's not 60. And in fact, that is the default. That is what it is. So what I want to do is actually make this look like it's already pressed down, while these two are up and look like this. So this does not highlight, and it looks like it's pressed in somehow. That's what I need to do to tell the user what is actually going on. When they click this unchecks and looks like this. So that would make it make more sense. All right. So to make it look like it's pressed, let's continue to have this running while I play with it a little bit. It's 60 that should look like it's pressed. And I think what I need to do is play around with this pattern here is already highlighting the text. And that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I'll tell you what, I will interrupt that one. What I'm looking for is this already set to 60 frames? That's what this is doing. So I can use that to detect. I can say, if this equals this already, right, then we're going to do something. In this case, first, I think I'm going to make this disabled. It's probably the best way to do it. In fact, I could almost just do this. Probably should do that, actually. Let's try this first. The reason why is because while it is like I want to say, is it not 60, right? Then this button is enabled, right? And in fact, I can do the same thing here and here right now. For 30 and 120. The reason why I think that's cool, besides that it's kind of elegant, is because it already has a style that looks like it is pressed. Right? You see the 60 is already there. I'm doing this just in case it was 120 that is pressed, because then it would stay disabled. So I'm putting that there. So now, what is pressed already looks like it is pressed, because it looks like it is disabled, right? The problem is this highlight effect is still happening. So I'm going to interrupt that. Okay, that is this pattern here. And I'm just going to say, I'm literally going to say, if it doesn't equal 30 already, and, sorry, I don't have allergies, but my nose is going crazy right now because I'm streaming evidently. Okay, this is 60. This one. Okay, so this is fairly straightforward. It's basically saying, first, it must not be the one that is selected, and then I can highlight or not. And this interrupts it, so it will remain disabled and not highlighted if it is pressed. These other ones do highlight, this one does not. Cool. So now it's clearer to the user what this means. This now means, oh, this is available to be pressed, but there's no need to press 60 frames per second. It is already. Excuse me. So that those are radio buttons, and it's clearer to the user. I would literally do the same thing and use a pattern here in the display for the player as much as I would want to use a design pattern for me in rules of the game or a code pattern as a programmer. Yeah, it's all good. We like patterns. So let's do that. Let's continue with that pattern a little bit. This looks pretty good. I think, I did bring up the idea we could get fancy and detect the actual monitor frame rate and have that as an option as well. No big deal. We just adjust the size of these buttons and have 4 of them instead or something like that. I mean, I guess technically we could say default to what the monitor refresh rate is. I'd have less control over the player experience, but it would be good from a technical standpoint to match the monitor frame rate. Eesh, I'm going to nerd out on that. So the other labels, let's do another one. I'm going to do what? I guess I could just say audio in general. Right. I'm going to say sound effects for now. Like there are no sound effects at all, but I'm going to say this now and then we will adjust it. Now this is exactly 10% high, so I'm going to have to move more than this. I'm going to have to probably do that. And I'd like to see that before I go further. Yeah, audio sound effects, and probably low, medium, high is fine, to be honest. Why not? For laughs, we'll also just put in music. I'm sure I'm going to want both. I'm positive. But I guess I could say sound effects volume, audio volume. I guess I could do that. Right? This needs to be spaced out. There we go. All right. And it's word wrapping. It's a little bit bigger than it needs to be. How about this? I think people understand what vol means for volume. I don't want to take up too much space, but I think that makes sense. Yeah, it's fine. And I don't know what other options I frankly need at this point, so I'll leave it here. But I will duplicate this pattern because this works great. In fact, I'll just do this. I should label them so I don't lose track of where I am. So, first of all, these need to be lower. Oh, I am going to need to figure out the volume. Oh. But let's label it low, medium, high. Sounds fine. In fact, I could probably spell this out. I have enough room. Let's see. Do I need to stop and get coffee and deal with my nose and all kinds of stuff? Ugh. Jeez. Okay, low, medium, high. You get that? Cool. Let's do the same. Yeah, right now this actually controls the graphics, so we're going to change that immediately. So this also says low, medium, high, and that's all good, right? Well, Okay, check it out. For the graphics, we use a reference to, oh, sorry. Okay. For the graphics, we actually have a tool that deals with the graphics, and we need to have a reference to it. We read what it currently is set at, and that's what we show. That's what we use for our radio buttons. Well, we don't have a tool for audio. Shall we make one? I'm not going to go ahead and do the whole thing because audio will be a effort, including, you can imagine, crossfading music and playing as many sounds as we need to at once, blah, blah, blah. But if you're not done this before, what we don't have is any kind of script for it. In fact, we don't have any folder for it. Shall we do that? I'll just call it an audio manager. Oh, that's totally cool. And watch this. I won't even implement anything yet. Like literally nothing. Instead, I'm going to put the placeholder pieces so there's probably two pieces I need. This and that. I'll go ahead and set them to a default. I'm sure actually this is, just do Fibonacci. Someday I'll explain why I appreciate those numbers so much more in terms of selecting numbers to start playing with in game design. All right, I'll go for it now. 0.5, sure. 0.25, okay. But quite often, those are so generic it doesn't quite work, and I don't know how else to explain it. Fibonacci just hits better. So if I have 6.18, this is actually a golden ratio between 0 and 1. It's a good number to play with. It's actually good. Likewise, 0.381 is an excellent number to begin with. It is also the golden ratio. Look it up. Anyway, I just need these numbers because now I have a tool that doesn't do anything at all yet, but it will. Let's implement it, yeah? I mean, like literally, I don't even have this thing, but let's make it. We'll put it in Splash exactly like I just described. It is, what? What? Why? It is called Audio Manager. Like, what's wrong? I am confusion. No, it does not have compile errors. It is blank. Like, literally, there's nothing here. What's going on? Audio Manager, the same name. There's nothing here. I don't understand. Why would this say there's a compile error? Why is this highlighted differently? What's going on? Start is empty. Okay. That doesn't cause an error. there's no way that she's so weird. Okay, whatever. Anyway, we have a stand-in tool. It does not do anything yet, but it has these public variables. Guess what? I need them for my options. Likewise, it needs to have a singleton just like my other tool did. And just like the other tool, I'm going to make it a prefab and stick it right here. Because it is going to start here and then travel around the game, there's going to be only one. That guarantees that any tool could play audio. See, even though this tool doesn't do anything yet, that'll become more useful later. Okay, right now, we have the ability to do that. And I can do the same thing that I'm doing here for frame rate. I can go get it, use it as a means to read and display for the interface what's going on, and then adjust it. Easy. Same pattern, frankly. I'm going to say, give me the audio manager that exists. And if it doesn't exist, bark loudly. That's what this is. Oh, my music stopped. No, it's good. Okay. Okay. Cool. After this, it's guaranteed. All good. I can go ahead and grab this. And this. Done. And now I can come back and adjust this because buttons, this is the frame rate, here's the sound, Now I can do this. Low, medium, and high. Well, I suppose I don't want it to be off, like, ever. Frankly, we should have a long discussion about the design of audio and specifically the options we give players and why we should probably never give them the option to completely disable the audio, but they could adjust it. That's fine. Yeah. It would feel wrong if we don't give them some control over this, but I literally question the whole idea of letting players turn off the audio design that you did. Okay, so low, medium, and high. I'm pretty sure Fibonacci's low, medium, and high is going to do it, so I'm down. This. So this is not that value. Okay. We're doing sound effects. Sound effects. This is... Okay. And that means that I literally need to stick to these Fibonacci numbers, which, you know what, I should probably... You know, it is the default. I was going to say let's lock in the low, medium, and high here, but yeah, you know what? I'll just let this options menu control it. I won't control it anywhere else. Okay, this is going to be 1 as in 100%, which you might think, why isn't that the average? It's so people can turn it up and down. Okay, so low, medium, high. And we need to do the same thing here for music. All right. So we have a tool that is keeping track of what the volume should be for both music and sound effects. We have therefore a place for this tool, which is handling the options interface, to read that tool, get the numbers, do its thing. Cool. All right, and in that way, we are ready to actually set these numbers. So this is what sound effects low. We can now say, hey, audio manager, you know that sound effects volume that you got going on? Yeah, set that to low. Or medium. Or high. If you're wondering, like, how do I know these numbers? Well, I've used them and then I like them so much I learned them. So, also just nerd. There we go. So that was sound effects. Here is music, low, medium, and high. And because these numbers are public on the Audio Manager tool, we can confirm that it is being set appropriately, just like we can confirm that it's being set appropriately for the graphics. Even though this doesn't do anything, it's so funny. Is this really complaining when this is empty? Really? Is that really going to come? No, it's not. It's so weird. Okay, I'm going to close that. Close this. I'm feeling so confident. I'm just going to jump in and test. What we would like to see, now that we're here, the splash screen has started, you see Audio Manager and all these other tools are now unparented and sitting in a thing like a folder that says don't destroy on load. This means they're going to travel all over the place. So I come into the main menu, which is a different scene, and they're still there. These are the same tools. They didn't delete. See, don't destroy on load. So now we're here. I could actually read these numbers change when I do this. Oh, wait. Hold on. This is not changing. And you know what? It's because it's this number. The graphics are still controlling this. So, let's test. I was so confident. Did you see the confidence? I'm not knocking confidence. I'm just saying science requires we test. Yes, this is the problem, right? So this is if music volume is not this value, then make it. So let's say if it's not this, then it is enabled. Using not is a little bit of a mind bender, but you get the idea. Okay, this is the medium. Low. This is sound effects. Medium. I'm going to have to double check this because I've been copying and pasting. This should be low. Okay, so sound effects, low. Sound effects, medium. sound effects high, music low, music medium, music high. There we go. All right, let's do this again. All right, we should see, let's look at both these tools. This is the target frame rate, and I can change it. Yay. Cool. This is the audio, and I can change the, what? Why? So this works. Actually, what's going on? Okay. So the highlighting is also broken. Let's fix. Highlighting and low, medium, high on the sound effects is broken. Can we fix, please? Let's start with sound effects. The highlighting worked. Okay, and then for music, yeah, I'm not saying that. Okay. Like I said, I wanted to double check if I copied too much. Okay. And why is the one two? Oh. Oh, hold up. I don't think I'm doing this right, because I am setting the local variables. Okay. I'm setting the local variables just fine, but I was skipping the actual values I need to change on the tool. I need to do both, right? Okay. So yeah, I do actually want to do this. Actually, let's just do this. I'm changing this, but then at the end of this, yeah. I guess I could be a little more efficient and only change this when the value changes, but it's more accurate. If by chance the music volume gets changed by something else, this will still read it. So I guess that makes more sense. So consistently now changing it on the tool and then letting the tool tell the options menu what is going on. So let's be confident. Let's try to test. Yes. All right. We want to see these numbers. And we've already seen this. This works, right? We get the highlighting. The numbers change. Looks good, actually. Good. Okay. Likewise, audio manager. Highlighting. This is not working. All right. The buttons are working, and it is changing the values here, so that's something. What's up with the highlighting? Yeah, that's why we test. Uh, is that not right? interrupt highlighting if I mean, it's the same as this should match that, and it does. So what am I missing? Is that not strange? Okay. It occurs to me I don't even use these numbers actually. Like I don't use frame rate anywhere, do I? Like I use the word frame rate, but like literally I said it once and I'm done, which is not quite what I wanted. I'll tell you what. Let's complete this pattern because I want to get this working first, but then I'm going to complete the pattern. This really should be if this volume does not equal that. Well, all right. What if I actually said this? Right? Then it is exactly like the other pattern. I'm curious why that isn't working though. I have a strong feeling this is now going to work. If that's true, I'm even more confused. Yeah. Like I'm confused. What? Now this works? What? Okay. Okay, totally confused now. Okay, just it's the joke. A programmer says like, it doesn't work. Why? Puzzled. And then the next frame, the comic is the programmer saying, okay, it works. Now why? And then puzzled. Get it? It's silly. It's exactly what's happening to me right now. Okay, I'm going to complete the pattern because yes. And I actually don't know if I'm going to use these numbers now. I will complete the pattern and you know what? Do this. I know. I'm setting it and then I'm reading it. I know. It's silly. Okay, but I'm following this pattern. Okay. So, test one more time? Sure. Why not? What we wanted to do was begin with a control that we should give the player. And since we do have an options menu, we wanted to give them controls to do. This could clearly be reformatted for more controls and blah, blah, blah. But right now we only really had this. And so we decided let's go ahead and maybe put in some other ones. But I like the radio button format. It highlights to let you know you can click these, but there's no need to click those. It's pretty easy to see. We are, in fact, changing values. And so it's good. Cool. All right. Next would be things like using these values to save onto the profile, it's possible we might say something like, when you're logged in as a particular player profile, along with your profile stats, these might also be saved, right? It's another reason to say that we might use this pattern of save revert here in the options, because you might do this and then save, yeah? Or revert back to default like that, yeah? It's a potential. We might do that. All right. Well, short stream, because I really just wanted to do that and move on. Next time, we're guaranteed to do more with the pearls. We have lots of pearls. We're going to do 5 more. Because after that, we should shift gears into design mode and design, 30 more pearls. Yeah, we need more. There's a lot of variety that's meant to be here in the pearls that you can collect after you do a campaign. Talked about this last time. All right. I think that's good. Do you know what? It is good. We've implemented a options menu that was blank before, and now it actually has stuff. Not bad. Not bad for a few minutes. And how long have I been streaming? An hour? Yeah, not bad. So, we had fun. Tune in next time when we do more game development. We can implement more pearls. In fact, we might do all 5 next time. You never know. We'll listen to more jungle sounds, listen to more chill or jungle music, etc. In fact, I need to get some more playlists going. In the meantime, do crazy things. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye. I say, bye-bye.